This is a video of how to kill mesquite trees with Sendora herbicide. I've got about 50 acres and about 25 of it's pretty much overgrown with mesquite. I've owned the land for about 8 years and I've probably been killing mesquite for 7 of those.
Excuse me.
On the Woodside, company number 5, St. County District. First responders evaluated.
Excuse me.
It's like a lifelong task, killing mesquite trees. I think there's 2 things that a farmer rancher is guaranteed to do his whole life. 1 is fixing trailer lights and 2 is killing mesquite trees. So we got Sendora and surfactant. Based on the label from a small tank application, you need 1.2 ounces per gallon of Sendora and 0.6 ounces of surfactant. So I grabbed a measuring cup from my wife's kitchen. You know, maybe I'll rinse it out a little bit because I'm sure this makes good cakes. So for this 15-gallon tank here, based on the ratios, need 20 ounces of Sendora and 9 ounces of surfactant. And we'll put some of this blue dye in there. It's a water-soluble dye. Makes your hands look like you have the coronavirus because you don't have enough oxygen. So people look at you strange when you go in a restaurant or something. We'll put a little bit of this in there, and that way we'll know what bushes we've sprayed and what we haven't. The smoke behind me is because I'm getting ready to smoke some barbecue chicken for dinner. Now I'm gonna put 15 gallons of water in this tank. This four-wheeler, by the way, is a 2004 Honda Foreman 450. And besides me once spraying herbicide in the electronics, I've had 0 problems with it. I got it used about 10 years ago. And this thing just runs and runs and runs and runs. I mean, it doesn't look pretty, but it runs. The engine transmission just runs. And if you did have a brand new $15,000 four-wheeler, I don't know if you want to be running around spraying herbicide with it anyway. Go inside, wash my hands, and be ready to spray. Just about ready for some chicken gumbo. The label for the herbicide says that you can apply it from when the ground temperature, 12 inches deep, turns 75 degrees, up until 60 days after that. But there's a break at the, I believe it's 50 days, maybe it's 52. It's an 8-day break in which you can't apply the herbicide. And that's because the way the herbicide works, it gets absorbed into the leaves of the tree. And during that 8-day period that you can't apply it, the nutrients of the plant are going from the roots to grow the beans instead of going from the leaves down into the roots. So the herbicide actually can't be taken up by the tree. One down, 10,000 to go. So here's a mesquite tree that was sprayed last year, pretty much 12 months ago. And you can see that this thing is dead. Finally. I'm a little bit nervous, but these thorns will still get you, but. So that's what it looks like 12 months from now. The chemicals are about 75% effective, so you spray 4 trees, 3 of them are gonna look like this, and 1 of them is gonna be partially dead. I'll see if I can find one that's partially dead and show you what it looks like. Here's a perfect example. This tree is like 5 or 6 small trees because somebody shredded this tree about 10 years ago. And you can see where most of the tree is dead. There's these 2 limbs here that still have green on them. So you can see where the herbicide didn't actually completely kill this tree, so I gotta come back here and spray this again. So before I bought the property, I think like 2008, 2009, somebody came through here and shredded a bunch of this down, which is about the worst thing you can do. And I'll show you why. This right here is a mesquite tree that was never shredded. And you can see it's got an actual base that looks like a regular tree. Single trunk, and then it spreads out. This right here is a great candidate for mechanical removal because you could get a machine in there and then in a couple minutes you could pop that tree out and you'd be done with it. But let me show you, right next door is this thing right here. And this, you can see, was shredded, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 different individual trees right here. And so this thing would take forever to pull out. I bet you could spend 15 minutes on a skid steer pulling this thing out. So that's why you should never shred these suckers. This is a candidate for chemical removal, absolutely, because spraying this is a lot faster than the 15 minutes it would take to remove it with a skid steer. Just remember, don't ever shred these things unless just by accident. And that's why I think you need both chemicals and mechanical means to remove mesquite trees. Some, like the first one we saw, those are easy to pop out with a skid steer or a backhoe or excavator. But then the second one we saw, you might spend 30 minutes getting that thing out of there, whereas you could spend a couple minutes spraying and a year later the thing will be gone. You can see right here, most likely I've run over with the shredder or the lawnmower, and that's why it's so small. And the chemicals probably won't kill this tree because it has a massive root system and just a small amount of leaf area to soak up the chemicals. But I got the chemicals mixed up already, so doesn't hurt to give a little shot here. And hopefully this sorry tree doesn't come back again. One time I was at my daughter's school for a elementary school function, and I was sitting next to a wildlife botanist who specialized in Texas plains. And she was definitely what you'd call a tree hugger. She had Birkenstocks on. And so I thought this is probably the most liberal tree hugging person I'd ever seen. So I asked her what she thought I should do with the mesquite trees on my place. I was expecting her to tell me to come out here and like put some candles around them and hug them and love them until we came to a special bond back here. But to my surprise, the Birkenstock wearing botanist said, get rid of them. So if she says get rid of them, that must be the right thing to do. You see these trees that I killed last year. There's one that I missed last year. Here's one that's partially dead. Some more dead ones. You can see all these that I sprayed last year, pretty much showing dead. And then you can see, here's a field that I cleared out 2 years ago. My property has lots of mesquite trees, lots of brush. You can kind of see where I haven't gone any further. There's that clearing we just walked through. So this is my lifelong project, get rid of these mesquite trees. Here's an overview of my rig. Got the wand here. I got this piece of pipe so I can just stick it in there and hold it. It used to be that I'd like stick it in different places and eventually something would break, so I think that's a perfect spot. Got just enough hose so I can get off the skid steer and wave it. Got a battery, got the tank, got some wildflowers I found. My wife collects different kind of wildflowers. And I don't think she has this one, so I'll bring that one back to her. There's not a lot of wildflowers in the middle of July. This is the North Star NSQ 2272Q. I have no idea what any of that means. Pretty good rig. It's got a filter here and a tank. And it works like a charm on this 15-year-old, 18-year-old four-wheeler. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you learned something. I love this piece of land, but it comes with mesquite trees, which is just part of it. But like I said, it's a constant struggle to kill these suckers. But every year I get a little bit more and more. Sometimes with skid steer, sometimes with the spray rig. But you know, riding around on a four-wheeler is better than sitting in a cubicle somewhere. So thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. If you got any questions, put them down in the comment section. Take care. God bless. Goodbye. Oh, and please subscribe.